What's up? How y'all doing out there? This is Paul Pickett, host of the Paul Pickett Podcast. We are back, aka Triple P, aka the Common Sense Podcast, your source for music, sports, politics, sport events, and more. We've been pretty much banging out these podcasts every single day like it's a full-time job. Today I'm going to react to military whistleblowers giving bombshell news about the vaccines for COVID. And of course, you know, the military pretty much was forced to take it across the board. So there's that. And they should know a lot more than we should know because the military is always forced to take these things, you know, by the military and whatnot. But before we get into that, let's give you a word from one of our sponsors.
That lit, that slap. It is that one. That everybody talking about Dizzle new drink. They like that's that turn. That lit, that slap. It is that one. That everybody talking about Dizzle new drink.
They like, do you Dizzle? If not, go to dizzlebrand.com. Dizzle is a premium luxury liqueur mixed with agave tequila, French cognac, and orange liquor mango mix. Just throw your Dizzle on ice, and it's nice. If you want to order your very own bottle or bottles of Dizzle premium luxury liqueur, go to dizzlebrand.com. Click on our locations. Click on one of the top 3 website links. I recommend Emilio's Beverage. Must be 21 and over. Shipping and handling is included. And below that is locations in California, Oklahoma, Kansas, and Arkansas. Little Rock, here we come. So let's get into it.
They are now bravely coming forward as whistleblowers, risking their careers to reveal how the government is covering up adverse effects from the vaccine and the fraud that was perpetrated on the U.S. military being forced to take this. Many of them already have had consequences in their careers for speaking up at all or for refusing the vaccine. Many of them have been demoted or lost opportunities for promotion, that kind of thing. So do you want to give some context here?
Yeah, because we got some new data out on this too. New data shows that the coding system that the military uses to track health care of service members is showing a huge increase in things like, miscarriages, myocarditis, cancer, Bell's palsy, female infertility, and many, many other health conditions. The list is long, and this is the military's own coding system that the military uses to track these types of
it's like the way you bill your insurance. If you've ever had, your insurance, you take your kid in for a pediatric appointment and they get a, vaccine or something. They're like, the insurance, they didn't put the right code in. So then you have to make 10 phone calls.
Right.
It's like that. It's like how they code things in order to bill for them. Those codes are being disproportionately used in the time since the vaccine mandate went into place.
Right. And this data, we should be specific about it, comes from the Defense Medical Epidemiology Database. Say that 5 times fast. From the Department of Defense. This is the government's own data from the U.S. military. And now there's a massive lawsuit. Now, there were a couple of whistleblowers, military whistleblowers, who came forward a number of months ago. And they sat at a Senate panel and they came forward to tell their story at great risk of their career, being grounded permanently or expelled from the military for coming forward and blowing the whistle on what was actually happening inside of the military. One of the lead lawyers on this story is Dale Sarin. He is the head lawyer. He's also a former Marine, and gathered up these individuals to bring this lawsuit, saying it's one of the greatest frauds perpetrated on the American people and the U.S. military in years. I want to let him explain what his motivation is for bringing this lawsuit. Listen.
There is no licensed vaccine. And I know it's convenient, and I don't blame anybody in the media, but because they've fallen for the FDA's propaganda campaign. But
yes, they have.
The day that the FDA licensed Comirnaty, August 23rd of 2021, the same day, it removed it from the market. So if you look at the marketing begin and end date of Comirnaty, you'll
Wonder
find
why.
that it cannot be sold in the United States because it was removed from the U.S. market the same day that it was actually licensed. And it would be good if maybe we started asking some hard questions about people at the FDA and the DoD who knew this, because it was, notwithstanding that it was removed from the market on August 23rd, the next day, August 24th, the Secretary of Defense announced that they were going to go forward with this vaccine program only for licensed products, of course, that they didn't have. And yet the program rolled forward. And what the DoD did was, as many of the folks here know, the Undersecretary of Defense for Health Affairs, Terry, a woman named Terry Aderam, published a memo claiming that the unlicensed product, BNT 162b2, Pfizer's unlicensed EUA product, could be substituted in, that it was interchangeable with the licensed product.
Huh.
And that's the fraud that's at the heart of our case, and it's at the fraud, it's the
So they
fraud
can change
that's
the
at the heart
vaccine
of
anytime they want.
why these products have been forced on an unwilling and unsuspecting public.
All right, so let me put in common sense perspective. The first guy and the lady reporting the news are basically saying, okay, well, after all these soldiers took the vaccines, you seen this large rise and increase in at least five, six, seven health problems with military people. So it doesn't, let's put common sense together. You don't have this big volume of health problems in the military. All of a sudden, everybody's forced to take this vaccine and all these problems start occurring. It don't take a rocket scientist to put 2 and 2 together and get 4 and have some common sense that this vaccine has a lot of effect. Anything in society that you create or build and you don't fully test it before going out in the market can always have issues and problems. I mean, whether you're just building a car or you're creating a vaccine, these things need to be thoroughly checked over and make sure everything is working, fine-tuned and everything. No, I didn't. Did I take the vaccine? No. Because why would I take anything that I don't know what the fuck it is? Um, when I smoke weed, I know what's in weed. THC. But, when you take in any kind of man-made drugs, even if it's like coke or crack or things of that nature, you don't know what these people are putting into it. You have no clue. They could sit there and list the ingredients, but they're always, you got to look at them with a damn microscope or magnifying glass damn near, because they're so small. And when you look these things up, these things are like made, you might look something up and it might be made of 2 or 3 things that you got to look up 2 or 3 of those things and find. It's like, it's a never ending rabbit hole and tunnel of things being manufactured in drugs. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, if you rush something out that you created, that it could probably have problems, issues, or effects. And this second guy is basically saying they licensed it and then unlicensed it. Why is that? That seems like they basically have something to hide. They try to hide something, or they license it and then they realize, oh man, this actually has a negative effect on this, causing all these things. And there's a lot of people, conspiracy theory people, that think that this vaccine and this corona was intentional. And one of the things that they said was 2 of the main effects in there was miscarriages and fertility. So it affects how fertile women are and if they have miscarriages, is what they're saying. They're saying fertility issues and miscarriage issues have went up tremendously with females, and then they're saying these other effects have also tremendously went up across the board. In 5 or 6 health issues off of one vaccine is way too fucking much for me. It's way too much for me. So let's keep it moving. See what else they gotta say. See what else they gotta say. Come on, video. Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving, huh?
The licensed product. And that's the fraud that's at the heart of our case, and it's at the fraud. It's the fraud that's at the heart of why these products have been forced on an unwilling and unsuspecting public.
Unbelievable. So if you think about they sent a letter, of course, in part of the lawsuit, and this was the letter that was sent to Secretary Lloyd Austin on February 1st, 2022. The Honorable Lloyd Austin, the Defense Secretary. And they said, on January 24th, I held a roundtable, and this was from Senator Ron Johnson's office. Renowned doctors and medical experts who shared their perspectives on COVID-19 and overall response to the pandemic. At that roundtable, I heard testimony, and specifically from these whistleblowers. The concern is that these increases in health-related issues may be related to COVID-19 vaccines that our servicemen and women have been mandated to take. And so the list, of these, just a couple of these things that they highlight in this letter: hypertension, a 2,181% increase.
Wow.
Well, we're going to go over some of these numbers in a bit, but what he's saying here is that the vaccine that was administered and the vaccine that was approved are two different things. And I believe that's something that David has been saying repeatedly for at least the last year, right? David, this is what you've been saying. I've heard you say it, is that the one that's being used in Europe is approved, but the one that was being used in the United States was not. This is exactly your point, right?
Right.
That's another
problem. Do you have any
Too many
clarifying points on that, or am I just giving you a high five for having said this?
Or do we have to be very careful?
Just an up top. Okay.
Now, Comirnaty, and it's amazing to me. So they just think, oh, no one will notice. The one that got approved, then they got literally yanked off the shelves the same afternoon because we can't give this to people. It's illegal. We'll just swap it out for this other one that hasn't been tested, right?
But it was used in Europe, which is strange.
I know, it's bizarre.
The one that was approved.
So we, as part of this roundtable press conference, as it relates to this lawsuit, we're hearing now from a couple of these whistleblowers, a couple of the members of the military that have come together as part of this massive lawsuit. They have over 1,000 members of the military that have now joined this lawsuit. This is no small thing. And
a lot of people
they're not only representing themselves, but they're also representing the people who can't speak publicly or don't want to, and whom have these all sorts of adverse effects and issues that they.
And let me touch on that. Yeah, we're in a climate now. We're in a time in society where people are definitely scared to lose their jobs over speaking their mind, even outside of work. Like, they're scared to get on social media or anywhere. Fortunately, nobody can fire me. You could try, but good fucking luck, because I own the company that I work for. So, fortunately, I'm not afraid to be fired, afraid to lose my job. And even if I was working a regular job, 9 to 5, I'd be damned if my regular 9 to 5 is going to try to tell me what I can and can't post on social media, unless it's illegal. If it's not illegal, I'll be damned if they're going to sit there and if a job try to fire me because of a view on social media, you best believe lawsuit is coming, because we're getting in a place where, like, it's really getting dangerous. This shit keeps it up, it's definitely going to lead to civil war, because if you try to take away freedom of speech and the guns, which they're trying to do, that's going to lead to civil war. It's really getting batshit crazy out here. And the thing about freedom of speech is you got the freedom not to listen. So if you want to sit there and keep listening and get sensitive, hey, that's on you. Go cry in a fucking corner. You got the freedom to not fucking listen. Like I got the freedom to say what the fuck I want. Let's get into this a little bit more. We'll get in a few more minutes to see what else he got to say.
1,000 members of the military that have now joined this lawsuit. This is no small thing. And they're not only representing themselves, but they're also representing the people who can't speak publicly or don't want to, and whom have these all sorts of adverse effects and issues that they don't want to talk about publicly. Here's John Bowles. John Bowles, he's a fighter pilot. It's a distinguished fighter pilot, and talking about why he came forward. Listen to this.
That's pretty clear, I think, to almost everyone. And in the report that I helped generate to Congress, we've quantified that in terms of actual, no kidding, vaccine injuries that service members have encountered. Pilots getting pericarditis, one service member having 4 strokes after getting the vaccine, heart attacks, so many things that are just absolutely tragic and horrific stories that are heartbreaking to hear. And I think that's really the kind of common theme here for so many people, is that these service members are kind of heartbroken. I personally am, and I know thousands of others are as well. And we're not doing this because we want to stick it to the man, or because we're a fringe group of rebels, or we're religious radicals or right-wing radicals or anything like that. You know, we were given and instilled in us values about supporting and defending the Constitution, values about integrity and excellence, and values about asking questions when something seems wrong and speaking up about it. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. Is we are here to bring awareness to the fact that there are serious concerns about this mandate. They're a detriment to our national security. They're hurting our service members, and the coercive tactics used against them are forcing people out of the military in droves. And so that's my specialty, and that's what I'm here to answer questions on. And hopefully we can start to get the gears moving with the American people in Congress on making some change in this, because like Rachel said, the lawsuits might be the one thing that actually ends this for us. But the bottom line is these service members need top cover from the American people and from our congressional leaders. And I'm here to ask for that.
All right, so I've heard enough. You know what the problem is, and I can't blame just Democrats for this. You got to blame Trump and Republicans too, is you follow the lead of the fucking communists. And you basically tried to fearfully force us in our house, and a lot of people followed like little good children following the big bad daddy government, you know, big papa government, and stayed in little houses scared like some little bitches. Fortunately, I don't really go anywhere anyways, because I work from home. But most people were scared to go out after a certain time because they said they'll lock you up if you're out there. Then they they force everybody who has government jobs to either get vaccinated or they have to quit. Then they try to force us, like a bunch of fucking communists. And I understand, like, a cat like Trump, never been a politician, probably had no idea what to really do, who to trust on this. And of course, you would think that you could trust medical people, doctors, but when you can't even trust doctors, who the fuck can you trust? I mean, if there's anybody you want to trust a doctor. I mean, I trust my doctor because I had 3 surgeries, you know, my shoulder, my leg, and my foot when I got hit by a car. Got 5 screws in my foot, metal rod in my leg, and I dislocated my shoulder. And I trust my doctor, but knowing that I can't trust all doctors in the medical field is really, really, really not fucking good, man. It's a field where you're supposed to be able to fucking trust, you know. So, and then that's the thing. Now, even though Trump followed the lead of the communists and Republicans follow that lead too, not all of them were down with it. They definitely backed off from this shit sooner than Democrats. Democrats are still trying to force people to get vaccinated. Republicans are like, nah, fuck that shit now. Especially knowing that Republicans already want with forced vaccination. But as far as the lockdowns, Some of them were with it, some of them were against it, but they definitely got to the point where like this is too much like communism. You're just trying to keep us in our house for a whole fucking year, because you literally try to keep it. I mean, they literally had us staying in our house for months, and then before people really started feeling comfortable coming out. Then everybody started coming out with nothing. Everybody's wearing masks, and then people started getting to the point where they was like, you know what, fuck this shit. Vaccines ain't stopping people from getting COVID. No way this fucking mask is gonna stop. I could tell you, I haven't been sick in like 4 years, and it ain't got nothing to do with a fucking mask. I could tell you that much. It's all because what I said earlier. I stay at home. I don't really go nowhere. I don't go hang out with a bunch of people. I'm definitely smoking cigarettes or weed or drinking behind nobody anymore. And I think that's one thing that's changed a lot of people's perspective in life, is that a lot of people don't want to smoke behind nobody or drink behind nobody whatsoever anymore. And it ain't even just the fear of COVID. It's just like, that's how we were getting sick all the time anyways. We were smoking cigarettes behind somebody like, yo, let me get that short, or passing blunts around, or sipping on the same liquor bottle, taking shots out of the liquor bottle, yeah. And then you working around somebody for 8 hours or living under the same roof with somebody. Those are the things that really get us sick, But just going in and out of grocery store and, hey, how you doing? And walking past and keeping it moving is not getting you COVID, man. That's horseshit. That's bullshit. And they acted like it was in the air. They acted like it was staying on all these devices, like it was staying on the counters and stuff. Like people are touching credit card machines every single day, swiping credit card machines. Nobody's getting COVID from it, because I haven't, you know. Yeah, man, this doesn't surprise me. This was some communist bullshit. We're literally following the lead of communists and Democrats, who some of them are communists or wish we would be communists, or the socialists. And this is another thing. Like I was asking my friend the other day, like, why the, I don't know if I was asking, but I was just like, it just doesn't make sense to me that why the hell would anybody volunteer for communism? Like regular people, why the hell would you just volunteer for communism? But some people just want somebody to control every aspect of their lives because they can't do it for themselves. Yeah, this don't surprise me. You're gonna hear more and more of this come out. In the army, the fact that the army is taking a communist approach, a democratic approach, and they're trying to censor, like, this shit is getting out of hand, man, where all these places are just taking democratic, political, communist, censorship, cancel approaches, and making assumptions and accusations, calling everybody that doesn't agree with them domestic terrorists and bigots and racists and white supremacists. This shit is, they keep this shit up, man. This shit is not going to end well, man. They need to pump the brakes on this shit. So once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Paul Pickett Podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed.